Hello everyone, the Killers here, and today guys, we're gonna keep on reviewing mocks from the Project S. So the Project S, for those who don't know, is a project that the main goal of this project was to remake all the slicer set, all the 12 slicer set, into a more canister sized set form. So we were two on this project, so me of course and my friend Shadow, and of course each of us made 6 mocks. So today I'm gonna review one of my mock, which is Sub, also known as Scuba in the US, in his slicer set, robot set form. So maybe a little turnaround. So of course the color scheme is the same as the original Sub, so this means using blue matter, clear blue, not clear blue, but light blue, excuse me, and also yellow, or yellow of course, not the kit orange one. And I think that's all, so I'm gonna put in apart, and we're gonna, of course, I'm gonna review it in a step by step. And it's gonna be pretty quick, I think, because it's a pretty solid build with big blocky parts and stuff like that, so nothing really complex to explain or anything like this, so I think it's gonna be a smooth review, or at least I hope. So I can really put off all the parts pretty quick with this set. With this mock, excuse me. So the main frame of this guy is a technique beam which is curved, so kind of like Takadox or Alex, you know, they use some curved technique beam. So this time it's curved in this way. And this technique beam has then linked, excuse me, this will actually fit easily thanks to this little two black parts, and of course this axle which will be useful to link the rest of the body, excuse me. Then on the back, I link this Robo Rider head, which then this little axle, which will be useful to link the legs this time, and also notice this little washi back, which is used as a little nice curve for the back parts. But of course, it will look better with all the parts put together. That's all. So now I think I'm going to talk about the legs first. So I will be able to make him stand still. It will be easier for me. So I think that's the right leg. So it is pretty easy to explain, so I'm going to use this little part to link to the main body frame, as you can see, but this part will be then linked to a connector. This connector will be linked to a slicer leg or arm, excuse me, because yes, of course the main feature of Sub is that he's got an harpoon and it's kind of like a little hunchback with some propeller and stuff like that. So that was the main idea behind this mock again, to have the same aspect as the original slicer set. So I use this slicer arms and link all the head plus an Onura in a light blue color to have some repartition or a good mix of all the 3 colors of the color scheme. So pretty easy. Then a connectors, and then kind of the complicated part, even if it's not really complicated, because the main idea behind this big blocky part is that I use 2 body parts, so here and there of course, and on the middle of this part I use some little parts to link first of all this Ordika arm, which can be found in Gadunka in this matte blue color. Then you have of course the feet, which is pretty simple because it's Kina foot, excuse me. Or at least it was released in Kina because it's an Inika foot at first. And also, these little parts, which you can't really see in there, are also useful to link this big, again, Inika foot, but this time it was released in Tawix. And then also, to have some mix of the 2 blue, I put some slicer foot in light blue on it. So you can see, so I have some nice shape. And finally, I put kind of some water tank, I guess, or air tank, yes, more like air tank, on this side. At first they were supposed to go on the back of the set, of the mock, excuse me, but then I found it pretty interesting to put this on this legs, in fact, on the legs, and it looked pretty nice again, and also it was pretty inspired from some Japanese mecha, which are one of my first inspiration when I mock, I have to admit, of course, and it's sometimes quite a problem because I tend to really make too much mecha-ified mock. So by the way, here's how it links thanks to these little parts, but I will be able to show you this better with the second leg, which is exactly the same, of course. So these little parts, and here we go. So the legs are now done. Now I will be able to talk about the two arms. So here's the left one. So in fact the arms all kind of work around this Baroque arm, which should be useful first of all to link this part, so with the little T-shaped part, which will be linked directly to the body frame. Also notice this part, which should just be useful to have a more compact, I don't think it is bust, but well, the front of the bodies will be useful to have a more interesting shape for the body frame. Then you got this little part of the details. This little big propellers, I don't think they are propellers in fact, but these little big parts with some details, with the little gears right here, the blue one and the yellow one, which will be useful, which will be put on the back of the body frame, or the body, excuse me. And then you have the arm itself, pretty simple in fact, because double long connectors, and there's two little black parts which are useful of course to link the Wakshi foot on the sides. Notice the little yellow parts here and there, which can be found in Tawakawa, and which are useful to have some yellow touch in all this blue and light blue color scheme. Then I use the same technique as explode arm. This means using double connectors and then a slicer arm. On this one I put this part plus a little propeller, so to have a kind of little reference, little details to the original slicer, which got a little propeller on its back. This time they are on his arms. Then you got the end, which is a stronger, bulkier end made with a slicer foot, but I think you know this technique by now because I use it in most of my mock, I have to admit. Not really a good pun, but still. And I really use it tons of time in my slicer mock, I have to say, on this Project S. And then you got the harpoon launcher, which was, well, the main idea was is by Shadow, which got the idea of using this trident part and stuff like that. And you have this idea, for example, and well, here how it looks, because of course the original sub got an harpoon launcher. Then we're gonna, thanks to this little T-shaped part, put that on this axle. Like that. Now putting the second arm, which is exactly the same, excuse me. And now we are done, so you can, for example, see the front body, now with the slicer foot. This was an idea of Shadow, and it's a pretty good idea because it's really add to the overall design, I have to say. And then you got also this, the two big parts on the back. Also, to complete this, we're going to add the throwing arm, throwing disc arm. Right here, now it's complete. And finally, the head, which is, well, I use the same technique as the one on Fire and Ice, which was the first created by Shadow. Even if I use the glitter neck, and as you have seen in the flare review, Shadow directly put this glitter neck directly into the head. I do not do that. I don't not really know why. Maybe for the articulation range. Well, by the way, here how it works. So you got this part, and then the connector plus the Glatorian neck. Notice the part right here, which is exactly the same as the original sub with the little hose pipe. Then of course I'm gonna use this little axle hole on the directly molded axle of the Wakshi foot. Works pretty well. And finally link this little hose pipe on the side. Excuse me, and it works pretty nice. And I think we are done with the mock itself, so I'm going to do maybe a turnaround of this one and then talk about the articulations. So, the articulations, yes, yeah, right now. So, how it works, in fact, because of the slicer part used, is quite awkward, but you can do some pose. In fact, it's really up to you for this type of articulation to try to do some pose with that. Of course, because of the yellow parts, it kind of block on the slicer section, so it's kind of like 90 degrees. But you can do, for example, still do some crouch pose like this, for example. Okay, just hope it stands still because it worked in my French version of this review. Yeah, like this, for example. And now for the arm, so there is no problem on the shoulder section. It stands at 360 degrees, if I can say so. But of course, there you have the slicer arm. So again, it's up to you to make some. I'm gonna maybe put him in his original position. Excuse me. Yes, what I explained, yes, this is of course the same goes, so you can put this part in different type of pose, but it's quite awkward at first to figure out how to pose it, so in fact it's just up to you and how you play with the model, but I have to say that of course the articulation are not his strong points, even if they hold pretty well, you can't make tons of movement of pose, at least I guess with this reviews I will see that in more details when I take pictures of my mug, because I really like to take tons of pictures of set of mugs, so I really try to do the most of the thing I can with the articulation of my mugs or sets. But by now it's kind of seem limited. So the head, no problem, up, down, on the side, and also I really try to make the hose pipe do not fall off, so you can only make tons of little posts like this one, which is a bit extreme and not really realistic, but you can do up to this point and it will not fall off or not just detach, so it works pretty well. I have no problem with the hose pipe itself. And I think that's quite all for this set, guys, so maybe I'm going to do a little pause. But it's all about balancing the weight in the mug, in fact. And also because the slicers ball joint are pretty weak, I have to say, excuse me. Oh, no, still falling off. That's really a problem, I think, with well, here we go. So yes, one of the main problems you have seen is the articulation, but apart from that little posability problem, I think it's a pretty solid build, because it's all there is no parts which keep moving and stuff like that. It's all pretty solid, and well, that's maybe the problem, is that also the articulation seems pretty well, the range it's maybe too solid, because the posability is not really that good, and it's pretty awkward to make some good pose and without the mug falling off. So it's really kind of a little problem. But again, I think you have seen pretty much everything of this mug. So it's up to you to if you want to comment on my mug, if you want to say if you like it or not, and if you don't like it, tell me why. Please argument. It's still better with argument. And well, that's all. So hope you enjoy this review. Hope you enjoy the mug. So and see you later for another video review. Bye bye.